it's Alexa. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to talk about something that's important, something that I've kind of been keeping in for a while, and something that I think really needs to be addressed. So in a minute, I'm going to be grabbing Matt. But before I get into this video, I want to start by thanking BetterHelp for being a sponsor of today's YouTube video. Before becoming a mom for the first time in 2022, I thought I had a handle on my anxiety and depression. After it started affecting my daily life, I recognized that I really needed to find some help. That's when I found BetterHelp. BetterHelp is a fully online therapy service that is completely personalized to your needs. It's really easy. You're just going to go and fill out a questionnaire, and then from there you'll be matched with a therapist in as little as a couple days. BetterHelp being fully online makes therapy comfortable and convenient, which is especially needed in those really early days of motherhood. You'll then connect with a therapist from a diverse network of licensed professionals. They offer a wide range of specialties and backgrounds to get the help that you need. Don't worry, I know sometimes it can take some time to find the right therapist for you. And another great part of BetterHelp is that you can switch therapists at any time at no extra cost. Being pregnant again, I have so much more confidence going into postpartum this time, knowing that BetterHelp is there whenever I might need it. Whenever you feel ready, start your therapy journey today by clicking the link in the description box below. Or you can visit betterhelp.com/AlexaFraser and get 10% off of your first month of therapy. I'm here with my husband, Matt, today, and we're also here with baby number 2. I am currently 31 weeks pregnant now. And speaking of, I wanted to jump into a subject that is very important to me. And it's something that I have been open about, but I feel like I could have been a little bit more honest and open about it. I did want to thank BetterHelp in helping me to open the conversation about mental health and anxiety, something that's been a part of me for my whole entire life now, really. So I've been really open about this subject on social media with you guys. I feel like it's something that people pretty much do know about me to a certain extent, that I've dealt with anxiety and, mental health struggles. I do definitely feel like everything changed for me once I became a mom, because of course we went from just being a single couple to, then getting married, then having a child. And obviously for anyone who has been through this, you know how difficult that is.
I'm so happy that Alexa's actually making this video because, so many of you guys have asked me, how's Alexa doing? How's Alexa doing? I didn't want to tell her story, but Alexa had a really hard time when Royce was first born. I mean, you've always had anxiety. You've always had issues with anxiety, but you were always able to get yourself through it. You were able to breathing exercises, to talk yourself down. There was so many different things that you did to help yourself. I think that the hardest thing about pregnancy, I mean, I can't talk about a woman, but, after seeing what you went through was the hormone crash and dealing with postpartum. It all came down on Alexa all at once. And I think the scariest thing was, even being her husband and being a psychic medium, I had no idea. I myself was looking for help because I didn't know how to help you.
That is one of the reasons why I have Matt here with me today. You at home watching this, you might be someone that's me, that has dealt with the anxiety and the depression, or postpartum anxiety and depression, or you might be a partner of a partner with anxiety and depression, and you might not know how to help them whatsoever. So I wanted to come on to talk about my own experience, and then I wanted Matt to kind of, vouch for yourself too. And I wanted to talk about how you really helped me through it, how we helped each other, and how we overcame it. If you've had a child, your whole life changes. And, it's funny because when you're pregnant, right, it is the blissful time, especially with your first child.
Well, it was. For you, it was.
But for us, you imagine that child. You're going to the ultrasounds, you're going to the doctor's appointments, you're feeling the kicks. But I feel like a conversation that is not had is how you might deal with these difficult things if they arise. You know what I mean?
I think you don't know when they're going to arise. And that's the whole thing. For you,
especially the first time.
I know as your husband, I was so scared about you being pregnant, because when you're pregnant, I'm like, oh my God, is she going to have anxiety? Is she going to be fearful? Is she going to be anxious? And
because I also deal with health anxiety. That's one of my biggest fears and triggers in my anxiety journey is health anxiety.
Fears of hospitals, fear of doctors, fears of nurses, fear of medication. Guys, oh my God. I mean, Alexa
I could not even get a butterfly. I couldn't even get blood work done. The whole ER one year, like freak out. They were like, "Oh, you're the crying girl down the hall." I couldn't even do it. I couldn't do it, guys.
I gotta tell you, for me, like when you first got pregnant, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, she's gonna have to go through the blood work. She's gonna have to go through the ultrasound. She's gonna have to go through all these things. I'm gonna be like, I was saying to myself, like, she's gonna be out of her mind. You were completely fine. You were in blistering pregnancy. You were okay during pregnancy. So I'm like, oh,
which was unexpected for me too.
So we were like flying through. I'm like, Alexa's got this. This is fine. Everyone's asking me, how's Alexa? I'm like, she's in her glory. She's doing fantastic.
I really was.
And Alexa was fine even after Royce was born. I remember 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, Alexa and I going walking. We were having the time of our life. We've never been so close in our marriage with one another.
I was healing.
And then all hell broke loose. And when I tell you all hell broke loose, it was one day.
Literally. Like within like 1 hour of a day. Like it was like insane.
I didn't even see it coming as a medium. Like I remember being like, what just happened?
It was like someone took me away and like replaced me with somebody else that no one knew. Like it was...
We didn't know what to do. Like at first I'm thinking, okay, well, it's a phase. She'll get out of this. You know, it's a little postpartum. You know, I was calling and contacting our doula. And she's like, oh, it's a little postpartum. Yeah. She's going to go through this. Like she's going to be crying. It's the release of the hormones. Then it kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And to the point where, you know, people would ask me about you and I didn't know what to say. Like people were like, how come Alexa's not on Facebook Live? And I used to be like, oh, she's busy. Or like,
family members. Family members
yeah.
used to be like, we want to come visit Royce. We want to see Royce.
It's really hard making excuses for you with family members, with all of you making excuses because everyone's asking me on tour, why is Alexa on tour? Why is Alexa on tour? I obviously didn't want to tell them, well, you know, she's struggling mentally. I mean, I did tell them, you know, oh, she's a new mom. She's, you know, I kind of hinted towards it, but at the same time, I didn't want to tell your story. And it was really, really tough. And I think the hardest thing, and I think that you should share about, and I don't even know if you know this, Alexa had, her biggest fear was having a C-section. She had the C-section. I remember coming to, I wasn't even there. I was on tour. I came in late. I mean, it was crazy. I went running to the hospital, got upstairs, got to the room. Alexa's like, it's okay. I'm good. I'm fine. And I remember you saying it was not as bad as I thought. I would do it again. And you were like, it wasn't.
I think I was still on all the meds, but
you literally went like this, man. I'll never forget it. You were like, and you know what? The C-section, I would do it again. It wasn't bad. And we came home and you were fine and you whatever. And then all of a sudden, postpartum hit. And I think the first thing that you should talk about is that you started getting those dreams. Those dreams are what spun you out of control.
Having the C-section, although yes, it went perfectly. I had no complications, nothing. It was, thank God, perfect. That I do think had, even if it was like a 10% contribution to my postpartum anxiety and depression, because I, didn't like knowing I was just cut open and had a surgery, and it's a very painful surgery. For those who have had it, you know. And I felt like I wasn't in my same body anymore, just from having that C-section alone. I'm a very active person. We were walking all the time. I jump up. I mean, like, I'm never sitting down. I sleep in this bed at the end of the night, but you won't find me in it until the end of the night. That was very discouraging for me, not being able to walk. I wasn't able to change Royce's diapers for the first 2 weeks. That was also taking a very big, recovery had a very big mental toll on me. It was like, I had never experienced, thank God, I've never had a major surgery before. I've never had broken my leg, anything like that, where I've had to, recover for a while. So this was all very new to me, and I didn't give myself, now that I'm looking back in my right mind, I didn't give myself the grace and the patience and say, hey, you just had a major abdominal surgery. It's not going to be like this forever. You will heal. You will, if someone was there saying, you are going to go back to working out. You're going to go back to dancing. You're going to go back to taking walks with your husband and your child. You're going to go back to, normal life. Maybe that would have helped. During that time, you literally feel like there's no way out. I felt like, I didn't know how long I felt like I was going to be like that. You, as my husband and my partner, saw every day me walking, even if it was 4 steps further than I did the previous day. And, I did get up and put your boxers away, or I did change the baby.
Please keep my underwear out of this. I don't want people knowing.
I kind of meant just like the laundry. Matt was seeing the progress I was making, and I couldn't see any of it. It was like I was completely blind to any progress in the healing process that I was making.
But also as a psychic medium, I tell you, I see this all the time, is that like when somebody has a physical illness, for example, somebody has, somebody breaks their leg, somebody breaks their arm, right? You see them in a cast, you see them immobile, you see them in a wheelchair, and you're like, oh, I feel bad. You have empathy. You're like, oh my God, you can see what they're going through. You help them. You see the struggle. But when you're dealing with something mentally, it's invisible. People don't see it. They don't know what you're going through in your head. Obviously, when you have issues with, for example, when you break your arm, people holding the door open for you, like, oh, let me get this for you. Oh, let me cook for you. Oh, let me write this down for you. And you know how to help. But what the problem is that when it's mentally and it's all up here, it's invisible to everybody else but you. The hardest part and I think this is what we learned for this next time, is how to be prepared for this, right? We had no idea how to be prepared.
Okay, so that was going to be what I was going to talk about. And this is not to scare anyone who's going to be welcoming their first child. It's purely to help. And it's actually things that I wish I knew ahead of time as well. Because, you know, the first time, like I said, you're in baby bliss. You're going through the appointments. Oh my gosh, how are we going to decorate the nursery? What crib are we going to get? You know, what outfits does he need? Look at this little hat. What bottles are we going to use? And then you have other thoughts like, okay, am I going to breastfeed? Am I not going to breastfeed? Should I get a pump? Should I get a pregnancy pillow? What should I do? Those, now that we're going into having our second child, are very surface level things. They're needed and they're necessities, but I must say, looking back, they are pretty surface level things. And my only regret for when we were pregnant the first time, but how would we know? We were both first-time parents. I wish we got into those deeper conversations where, you know, we did touch it a little bit. You know, you said, well, I said, what about postpartum depression? You were like, well, you do have anxiety. You've had a history of mental illness. You might get it. Let's just expect it. We never really went into, but how are you going to help me through it? What happens when I need time? What happens when I start thinking crazy? What happens when I can't sleep? What happens when the sleep deprivation hits? We really didn't get into those nitty-gritty details of what I could possibly need during that time. But I think it's because we didn't know.
It changes, right? Like when you've had anxiety in the past and you've had panic attacks in the past, I've been able to help you through it. And I think that with postpartum, when you were going through it, no matter what I said, it was like in one ear, out the other. Like, like it wasn't able to, my words weren't helping you.
No.
And that was the hardest thing.
And the same old coping methods I used before that did help, did not. And then I really thought something was wrong with me.
Also, I think it's also like, you know, I mean, I'm not a woman, but I didn't go through what you went through. But I think it's also...
you are the husband. You are the other part of...
And being a psychic medium, like, I just feel like we're connected spiritually and energetically. So, like, you're healing here from having a baby, right? You're healing here from having a baby. Your body's in full need to now support this baby. Now, also at the same time, you know, your mental is on the baby, and then you're having those hormones. Like, nothing prepares you for that. Nothing prepares you. I could see that nothing could prepare you. And I think that... I also think that it's also different, though. For example, every person is going to be different. Every situation is going to be different. I remember talking to your doctors and talking to the doula, where they're like, "Oh yeah, like you're gonna feel this way. You're gonna feel depressed. You're gonna feel this. You might have the racing thoughts, but it's only gonna be for a little bit. And for you, it was not a little bit
because." I also suffer from like OCD and obsessive thoughts, and that's a part of my mental health and my anxiety journey as well. So for me, sometimes like during my panic attacks, and this was even before, I cannot see things for what they truly are. Matt was like the sound, you know, the psychic, the sound husband, the reasonable, rational husband during all of this. But I wasn't seeing things for what they truly were. I was like hallucinating a little bit. I was coming up with things that weren't happening.
For example,
didn't make sense.
For example, Alexa was having these dreams, and she woke me up in the middle of the night saying, "I'm having these dreams that I'm on the OR table, and it's operating, and this happened, and that happened." I'm like, "But wait. That didn't happen. Your pregnancy went perfect.
Like you're done.
You're done. You're done. You're out of it." Right. I'm like, and I tried to bring her back to those times, like to remember the good, right? Because this is what anxiety does. Anxiety gets to us to the point where we erase all of the thoughts. Right. We erase all the rational thoughts and we deal with irrational thoughts. So you're like, "Oh my God, I didn't do well in the surgery. Oh my God, this happened." And I'm like, wait a minute. You dreamt that. That didn't actually happen. Your surgery went well. And then there was also that disconnect because I wasn't there. Mm-hmm. You were like, "But you weren't there. How do you know?" And I'm like, "Well, I was there a couple hours afterwards and I was there on video, unfortunately, but I was there on video the whole time, and your mom was there and your sister was there, and you had such an amazing team with you that day." But I think that even now, like, there's still times when, like, you know, your anxiety brings you back and, like, I have to, like, talk you through it.
Totally. And obviously becoming pregnant again, which, listen, I'm pregnant again, guys. So I made it out alive. We made it through, right? Believe me, if I could, you can. But that's where a lot of, marital issues started to happen a little bit.
It's because, especially you and me and Alexa, this was our biggest marital issue. When I still think we battle this to this day, right? Is that I sometimes have to break her down because
Yes,
Alexa thinks that she can do it all herself. And for all of you women that are out there,
it's not
listen,
that I think I can do it all. I think I'm expected.
Right.
Like that's the standard that I hold myself to. And that's a part of my anxiety as well. I'm a perfectionist.
Women are amazing. All of you are absolutely amazing, but you all need to be supported too. You need to be supported. You need to have people by your side, friends and family, people you can talk to, people you can rely on, a therapist, whatever it may be. You need a team of people that you can rely on and certain resources. And listen, like I said, I'm not a woman, but I'm seeing this on the outside perspective of what you went through. I was just a small part of your journey, but we also leaned on your mom. We had a doula, and then when Alexa was going through all of these issues that were coming up, that's when I was like, okay, you cannot do this alone. We have to get a therapist on board. We have to get, a child care specialist. We 100%. Have to do all of these different things. It wasn't so much about healing as much as it was about learning, right? The more that you learn through the process, because you're taking on a new life when you have a child, right? Everything changes in a good way, changes in the best possible way.
Ever.
But, you're worrying about two people. You're worrying about different things that you worried about before. And it's all a learning process. You have to relearn about how to take care of a baby. You have to relearn about so many different facets of your life.
But it's all normal. I mean, honestly, Matt and I went from not arguing at all to like arguing a couple times a week when we had a baby. I mean, it's so normal. And especially, I do think more arguments arise when there's an irrational partner, when there's a partner going through postpartum anxiety and depression. That's not really who they are. That wasn't really who I was. And those are not thoughts that I would have normally had. Those are not actions that I would have normally been doing. I didn't recognize that. You recognized it, but then that's where we would butt heads. I felt like you weren't understanding me when you really were. It was just not in the way that I wanted. We're trying to take care of this baby and we're, losing sleep. And part of my anxiety, I wanted everyone like away from us because I thought that was the best way to have a newborn and to bond. And I was like, okay, as long as it's like the three of us, we'll be good. And then I X'd out a whole village that I truly, truly needed during that time. But I thought I decided to have this baby. We decided to have it. It's on us. It's our responsibility now. Like every mom does this. I can do this. And I just put way unnecessary pressure on myself. I probably put it on you without realizing it. And, I admit that.
Alexa and I have always been on the same page, always. Like, if there was a decision that we'd have to make, like if I came in and I said, oh, I want this wall color, Alexa would come in too, without even knowing I picked the same wall color. Right?
We do that. We test each other all the time. We're like, what one did I pick? And we're always on the same.
To the point where you could put out like 5 different things in front of me and be like, Alexa picked this one. I'll be like, oh no, she didn't. She picked that one. Yes, your wife actually picked that one. I'm like, I knew she did because
we were always on the same playing field. Always on the same level of thinking.
Hard part is that, this came in and it disrupted not just our life, but us together, because now it's like we're on the same page. I can't get through to you. You feel like you couldn't get through to me. I'm telling you one thing, you weren't taking my word for it. It was really tough.
In the way that I was thinking about it, I'm like, and how did we always agree? And then like now we literally made a child together out of our love. And how do we disagree on this? Obviously, becoming pregnant again, it was like a little bit of a trigger for me. Like, oh goodness, here we go again.
And it's also hard too, because like a lot of people like, and I know you guys mean well, but like a lot of people have like written in like, when are you getting pregnant? When are you getting pregnant? When's the next baby coming? When's the next baby coming? And I gotta tell you that not only did Alexa, did you want to wait? It's like, I remember saying like,
a little bit.
You wanted to wait a year till Royce turned 1. And then we started trying again when Royce turned 1. And I'm like, that night, I was like, all excited. I'm like, let's try. And I remember you being like,
next month.
Maybe.
Because by the time, and this is another thing, I'm sorry to interrupt you. By the time Royce turned 1, that was when I reached my good point where I started coming back into myself. I started getting a bit more independent. When I went back to, working out, dance classes, hobbies, felt like I had a grip on motherhood, felt like I had my old body back, felt like I was totally healed. And then here we are, and Matt's like, let's try again. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I just got myself back. And this is something I always say, And something that I wish I knew in the beginning. So if you are pregnant right now with your first, this might be my absolute best advice that I have carried with me now to my second. Something that I did not realize during that darkest period, during the newborn days, during postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, is that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I truly thought in my mind there was no way out of this. I thought I made a mistake. I thought I was too young to have a child. I thought we made a mistake in our marriage. Maybe we weren't ready. Maybe I wasn't ready. I mean, the thoughts consumed me. I thought I was in that dark period forever. I thought it was the new me. I was like starting to accept it. 1 year came, Royce turned 1, and it was good. Royce turned 18 months. It was better. Royce turned 2. 2, I was like, I would say that was my sweet spot. For me, 2. When he turned 2, I was like, oh my God, like, you know, I went back to like my modeling, my YouTubes, my decorating, my hobbies, like everything was back, which they do say scientifically, it does take a woman about 2 years to feel completely yourself again.
Sometimes. But I think that
for me, that was the magic number. It was when he turned 2.
Some people like bounce back quicker and some people don't. And I think that's what you had a problem with, honestly. Is I think that you saw, I think Alexa compares herself to other people. And I think that you saw other people being like, oh, yep, ready to go, ready for number 2, ready for this, ready for that.
People with vaginal births. And I'm like, oh, like if I just had that, it would have been so much easier. I would have been healed by now. Listen.
It's your own journey.
It's your own journey. And something else that I, realized through my, you know, postpartum journey is, and you might be religious, you might not be, but I go by God, and I truly believe that God, you know, gave us this next baby, gave us our Rowan at the perfect time, gave him to us at a time that I'd be able to handle it, gave him at a time where I was at my most confident again, healed mentally, physically. I had to turn to new coping methods at this point in time.
What were you gonna say? One of the things that I've learned as a medium, right, is that our body and our soul and our spirit are all connected. So, like, you know, I believe, like, when everybody was always asking, like, how come Alexa's not pregnant yet? How come Alexa's not pregnant yet? I really feel like you had to get yourself back emotionally.
Yes, you always said that.
Before, like, I know that that's the reason why it wasn't happening. Because, like, there was nothing wrong with you internally. And that was, I think that was, like, the weird switch, right? Is that, like, at first you went from having the C-section where, like, you were cut open and, like, obviously, like, you had this major surgery that had happened to, you know, having to heal here, right? So next thing you know, having to heal here. You looked so good, but you weren't there mentally yet.
Definitely not.
That was the hardest thing that was the hardest thing to witness. And that was the hardest thing for me as a husband to see was you not being there mentally. You know, everybody was saying, you know, well, Alexa should see a therapist. Alexa should see a therapist. And, you know, listen, I believe in therapy. You guys know I was an EMT. I believe in all things. The hardest part was finding somebody that dealt with postpartum.
Yes.
And that had availability. When you have a baby at home, like Alexa didn't want to leave the baby. She didn't want to drive
breastfeeding and pumping.
Didn't want to drive 45 minutes to go and see the therapist. Being a new mom, having to make an appointment, get up, get yourself ready, get in the car, go. I mean, it takes up your whole day, especially with the newborn when you have to pump and you have to do all these things. I mean, those 45 minutes, it seems like just a 45-minute appointment. No, it turns into like, you know, 5 hours of your day.
And that's when I discovered BetterHelp. And that was amazing because it's fully online. It's totally customized to your needs. There's people that specialize in so many different parts of therapy, postpartum, just anything that you could possibly need. And you can text them, you can call them, you can, you know, it's video chat. It's just so convenient. And it was something that I just really needed to have there for me. And I eventually had to go on a little bit of medication as well, which has been working out so well for me. I can pretty confidently say, like, with these tools and these resources, new coping mechanisms now for like my new life, and soon to be a mom of 2, you know, they just really came through and really helped me get out of those dark spots. And now I can confidently say that I'm pretty much on the other end. Not to say that I don't have any more anxiety, that I'm completely healed, don't have any more triggers, that I'm just like, do life. It's just that I'm able to, I know how to help myself now. I know how to ask for help to get the correct help that's good for me. And we're stronger than we've ever have been before. We're excited to welcome our little Rowan, and I'm excited to have these tools to just really help me cope through just everyday life.
If you're like Alexa, Alexa's the type of person where as long as she knows something is there.
Yes.
And like that's something like I noticed like a lot of people find healing with. Like with my mom always had, asthma, but, and my mom would never take her inhaler, but just knowing that the inhaler was there, she felt better. Like, oh my God, if the inhaler's in my pocketbook, right? If I get an asthma attack, I can go and I can grab it. I love so much about BetterHelp is that they're only just a text message away. You don't have to worry, like you can sign up and keep it on your phone, and you don't have to worry about, oh my God, I have to be at this place at this time or that place. What I love so much about them is they make it easy and convenient. Convenient is what we need, in today's world. And the same way that you're going to text your mom or your sister or whoever it is for help, you can text BetterHelp.
Yep.
When I found out about this and I found out about them and I found out they were sponsoring this video, I was like, thank God that somebody thought of this idea, because
it's amazing.
No matter what you're going through in life, just knowing, just like we have emergency features on our phone, just like we have the life alert, knowing that you have someone there that you can text, it changes everything just in your mindset alone. I love that you have it.
Yes.
And I feel confident as the husband. I gotta tell you, I feel confident as the husband knowing that it's there for her.
Yes. And now that I have discovered that, these things are here for me, these tools and resources, I can ask for help. I don't have to be afraid. And this is such a normal part of this journey. I feel like, we know what kind of conversations to have this time around. We know what to discuss, to talk about. We've been really setting ourselves up for success this next time around. I want to thank BetterHelp once again for sponsoring today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope if you are a sufferer of anxiety and depression and anything mental health related, or if you are a partner of someone or a friend or a family member of someone dealing with, postpartum anxiety, depression, or just regular anxiety and depression, know that there is help out there for you. There are ways that you are going to get through this. I believe in you. I'm telling you, if I can do it, you can do it. I promise. And I just want to thank you guys so much for being on all of our journeys with us. We absolutely love you guys. We consider you family. And that's why I enjoy so much opening up with you guys on my channel. And I just really want this to be an outlet for us to, all relate and to, discuss together, share experiences.
Let us know if you had any issues with postpartum, how it affected you, and how much of this story you can relate to, because I'm sure that there's other people out there, especially the husbands, that have also felt this way.
Husbands, partners. I want to encourage everyone to be very kind in the comments below. Please. Be kind to others, because this is a very vulnerable topic. I'm showing my vulnerable side. You're showing a vulnerable side, being a partner.
You're a good mom. You're a great mom.
Thank you. Well, thank you for all your support too. Thank God we made it through that.
And thankfully we have all of you that are literally our family. So.
Yeah, and the future is just so bright. We're so excited to give voice to siblings and to just watch 2 babies grow now from our love. So it's all positive. I know you can get through it. You guys know I'm always here to chat. And we love you guys. Bye.
Bye.